Hi, my name is Lee Gant from Georgia United Credit Union, and I work in the Business and Community Development Department. Thanks for joining me today for Car Buying 101. I hope that you'll come away from this presentation with some practical tips that can save you time, money, and headaches in your next car buying experience. In today's session, we'll be discussing what to consider when you're starting the process, some best practices related to researching the vehicles you're interested in, why it's so important to get pre-approved for a loan, how having a trade-in will impact your deal, 3 different methods for vehicle purchases, finding the car, and knowing what the walkout price is, additional products available to protect your investment, and what to do if you don't get the deal you want or the loan that you need. But before we begin our program, let's touch briefly on the difference between a credit union and a bank. For those of you who don't know, Georgia United is a not-for-profit financial cooperative. This means that we're owned by our members and we keep the best interest of our members as our top priority. Because we work for our members and not stockholders, we help you to keep more of your money by charging lower rates of interest on loans and paying higher rates of interest on savings. With that being said, let's dive into our topic. So, you need a new vehicle, but where do you start? Here are some things you may need to consider as you begin the car buying journey. When do you anticipate needing this vehicle? Are you in desperate need? Will your current vehicle last a while longer? If it's having problems, is it worth repairing? Buying yourself some time can work in your favor for many reasons, but especially when negotiating prices or doing your preliminary research. Quick story. I have a coworker who was in Athens with her daughter when her van broke down for the last time, literally in front of a dealership. She had to take whatever deal she was offered that night. Another thing to consider, are you looking for a new or used, previously owned vehicle? Does it need to last you a while? Is it your last car prior to retiring? What style of vehicle works best for your needs? How many people does it need to fit comfortably? Do you need room for a child's car seat? Do you need extra storage for hauling items? How much will you be driving? This will help you narrow down a type of vehicle. For instance, a 2-door hatchback might work for scooting back and forth to college, but expecting a new baby could mean selecting a sedan, a van, or an SUV. What about your price range? Do you currently have a car payment the new vehicle might be replacing? Do you have a down payment? Once you've answered these questions, you can narrow your search down to a couple makes and models. In each style of vehicle, sports cars, trucks, SUVs, there'll be certain makes, such as Toyota, Honda, Ford, or Chevy. Then there will be models, such as the Camry, Accord, F-150, or Colorado. All vehicles will get you from point A to point B, but you'll find as many differences as similarities. You may also start with a lower range model and move up to a higher range. For instance, a Corolla versus a Camry, or the GMC Acadia versus the Denali. Here's a hint. Buying pre-owned can sometimes help you to afford more vehicle with extra bells and whistles. Next, it's time to research. You can use online tools and resources to discover and compare gas mileage, reliability, safety features, and equipment. Many online reviews will help you discover pros and cons of the vehicles or point out things you never even thought of, like road noise level or restrictive rear windshield visibility. You might even consider talking to your auto insurance agent. Insurance pricing can vary between vehicles, and you wouldn't want to get your mind set on a particular make or model only to find out your auto insurance is going to double. And don't discount the value of asking your friends or coworkers about their vehicle experiences, both positive and negative. Word of mouth is good. Okay, so now you've narrowed down the type of vehicle and the price range. Next, it's time to consider pre-approval of your car loan. Did I mention that pre-approval is important? Pre-approval from your bank or credit union is so important, not just so you have a yes or no to your loan request, or because it'll help you negotiate the vehicle price. The pre-approval process allows you the opportunity to work directly with your lender to look at different scenarios and to find out what rate, loan term, as in number of months, and payment is available to you. If you wait until you're at the dealer to do all this at once, you may walk out with a rate, payment, length of loan, or all of the above that you're unhappy with. In addition, there's other considerations. Say you can afford a $250 payment on a $10,000 loan for a term of 48 months. Did you know that the age of the vehicle you're purchasing may restrict your loan term to perhaps 36 months? This would cause the payment to be higher than you wish. Or suppose you have a purchase price in mind, but the walkout price, including taxes, title, and dealer fees, is outside of your loan amount. Wouldn't it be best to know that now rather than later? So have an in-depth conversation with your loan officer from the comfort of your phone, email, or bank lobby prior to sitting in the hot seat at a dealer. So let's talk a little bit about the loan process. Whether you're applying in person or online, you'll be providing some standard information such as your driver's license and number, the requested loan amount, the specific vehicle and VIN if you have it, that's vehicle identification number, and the number of months you'd like for repayment. The results of your loan request are affected by several things: your overall debt to income ratio, your credit score or the current state of your credit. For instance, Georgia United doesn't typically make a loan to you if you're currently late on any of your existing loans. Then the amount of your down payment can affect it. If you're only having new credit or a thin credit file, you may need to have more skin in the game. Length of employment matters as well as the amount of the loan in comparison to the vehicle value. Remember, a no is not a final answer. You just may have to tinker with some of the loan terms. We'll talk about some alternatives towards the end of our presentation. Once you're approved, the application will go to a processor who will reach out to you and then go over the specifics. Remember, this is your chance for that in-depth conversation. They will also gather any further information that's necessary, such as proof of income or address. Your loan processor will see you through to the end of your purchase. A quick note about trade-ins. They can be helpful or they can be hurtful. What do we mean by that? Well, one of the good things about having a trade-in is that the amount of taxes that you pay on your vehicle purchase is reduced by the value of your trade. However, if you have not previously had your trade evaluated, the dealer can offer you anything they want. I highly recommend that you take some time to get a written offer on the value of your trade-in. CarMax will evaluate any vehicle and give you an offer, a firm written offer on your vehicle that's good for 7 days. That way, you know if you're getting a fair price. Here's a hint. Most people say you can get more for your trade by selling it privately. This may be true, but you have to weigh the benefits against losing the tax advantage as well as your privacy. And there's no guarantee you will actually sell it or get what you're asking for it. Having that written offer from CarMax, it's available to the dealer if they offer you less, can be your ace in the hole. Now, if you're underwater on your trade-in, meaning you owe more than it's worth, we politely call that negative equity. This can sometimes be absorbed when purchasing a newer vehicle for less than retail and rolling in the negative amount. This could be risky though, and you would definitely need a gap warranty to protect the value of the new vehicle should something happen to it. We'll talk about gap in a bit. Now let's touch on the 3 different ways that you may choose to buy a vehicle. You could purchase a vehicle from a private seller. Some people believe you get a better deal by doing this, but you must take care. You should be able to view the registration or the title to confirm that that person really is the owner. And if you get a loan against it, the bank requires them to provide their driver's license and sign a power of attorney for the title transfer. And of course, you should have the vehicle checked out by a mechanic. Quick story. I know a guy who lived in North Carolina and bought a Jeep located in New York on Craigslist. He flew up to New York and drove it home during June with no air conditioning. The AC wasn't broken, it just didn't have any. Next, you might want to purchase from a dealer. This is convenient, particularly during the weekend, but you will have compressed the whole buying process into a single day where you will have to make lots of on-the-spot decisions and might still walk away with extra fees you are not anticipating. Some things you never see until the purchase order is complete, which we'll also cover in a minute. The final way to purchase your vehicle is through a vehicle locator service. In my experience, not only in life but in banking, this is the way to go. Georgia United does not promote any particular vehicle locator, but our members are welcome to use any of them. You may have heard of these services being available at Costco or Carvana, or the one I use personally for my family, Auto Assistance of Georgia. For those of you who are not familiar, let's talk about what the process looks like. So here's how a car buying service works. You let them know the parameters of what you're looking for in your vehicle purchase. They will search their field of dealers for new or used vehicles available and share a couple of options with you. If you see something you like, they'll confirm availability and pricing, examine the vehicle's value according to NADA, which is the National Automobile Dealers Association, and they'll pull a Carfax, which is an historical report of the vehicle's accident and service records. If everything checks out, they can set up an appointment for you to test drive or deliver the vehicle right to you. Sounds simple, right? It really is. Best of all, you have an advocate steering you through the sales process. Steering you through the sales process. Remember those surprises we mentioned earlier on the purchase order? Both your car locator and your credit union are going to protect you from unpleasant surprises. According to Taiwan Thomas, founder of Auto Assistance of Georgia, you always do better when somebody is watching. So why not have two advocates watching for you rather than someone you've never met at the dealer? Here's another reason why using a car locator can serve you well in your vehicle purchase. I call it that car. In my experience as a branch manager and a lender, I can't tell you how many times someone came to me and said they needed a vehicle for themselves or their newly licensed driver or student heading to college, and they needed something reliable, not too old, not too many miles on it, and in the $10,000 range. Well, guess what? It is hard to find that car. You know why? Because as soon as they get one in as a trade, it is snapped up off the lot. However, when you're working with a car locator, your contact there is putting out feelers for you to all of their contacts in their dealer network. So as soon as one comes in, you get first dibs on it. That's why two of my daughters are driving cars better than mine. One has a 2011 GMC Acadia, the other a 2012 Acura MDX with 3 rows, leather seats, and lots of great features. When you finance a vehicle, you have the option to purchase gap, warranty, and payment protection. Let's talk for a second about each of these. GAP stands for Guaranteed Asset Protection. If your vehicle is totaled and your insurance company pays you less than you owe, GAP pays your remaining loan balance. On top of that, Georgia United's GAP will pay your deductible up to $1,000 for any fender bender. At the credit union, this is offered for less than $400 and it covers the life of your loan. My experience with dealers is they could charge as much as $899 for GAP. A vehicle warranty can be particularly important when you're purchasing a used vehicle. Depending on the age and the mileage of the vehicle, you may be able to purchase bumper-to-bumper coverage, coverage for all major systems, or even transmission only. This is another area where the retail fees charged by a dealership can vary greatly. At Georgia United, we will extend the term of your loan up to 6 months when you purchase gap and warranty, so your payment is minimally affected. Next, debt protection. With Credit Life, they will pay off your vehicle if you die. It's an insurance plan so your family members don't get burdened with paying on your vehicle after your death or have to use your life insurance to pay off your vehicle. With disability protection, a certain number of payments will be covered in the event you are disabled. And with involuntary unemployment, your payments may be covered up to $15,000 if you lose your job. Okay, so here's a sample of a purchase order. Some people call it the bill of sale. It spells out the purchase price as well as the final walkout price. Now you'll see the exact car, including the VIN, that's the vehicle identification number, and that's also available to search on the internet, so you can check a Carfax if you haven't done so already. Do you see the difference between the purchase price and the walkout? The walkout price includes taxes, title work, and dealer fees. A couple of different things could go wrong if you don't study the document carefully. Say the dealer has agreed to knock an additional $500 off the price of the vehicle. I've seen them do this, then simply add it to the cost of the warranty or the gap. Another thing to look out for are service plans that require that you only take your vehicle back to the dealer for servicing. I had a member in Lawrenceville almost pay for a servicing plan that required he go back to South Lake for his regular oil changes. All of these things can affect the walkout price, which is the amount you end up financing with the dealer, regardless of what the purchase price you agreed upon is. One final piece of advice. Some dealers will ask you to state a desired car payment, which I don't recommend you ever do. By agreeing up front on a payment, they will work whatever deal they can to make sure that you've got that payment, but you lose control over the price of the vehicle, the walkout price, how long you're going to pay on that vehicle, meaning you might end up paying for a vehicle much longer than you expected because of the payment you requested. And they could guilt you into moving forward with a deal that you don't like since they managed to meet your expectations. On the other hand, sharing your desired car payment with your credit union loan officer can help them advise you better on your price range and your loan terms. So what do you do if you don't get the deal you want or the loan that you need, especially if you've had a credit setback? I always say that the credit union is a judgment-free zone. When we pull credit, we've seen it all. Job loss, medical issues, or even divorce can mess up your score. If that's the case, here's some things to think about. We've all learned to practice the pivot this year. Car buying can be an emotional process, but you have to have faith. If you don't get the car you want, you've got to believe it's for a reason, and another car will come along. You could get a cosigner. By having a cosigner, you get the advantage of the higher of the two credit scores. You might consider increasing your down payment. I've seen people who were originally declined for a loan obtain approval by providing a more substantial down payment. Another thing that you can do is take whatever interest rate you're offered and refinance later. I've had folks as high as 20%. You just have to make sure that you're getting that principal paid down so you don't end up underwater. Once you've made 6 to 12 on-time monthly payments, your credit will have improved and you may be able to refinance with the credit union at a lower payment. Or maybe you could repair your existing vehicle and allow yourself more time to build back your credit and research vehicles to get just the right one. So today we've looked at the many aspects of purchasing a vehicle. I hope that you've gathered some practical ideas that you can implement to assist in making the car buying process a more pleasant experience from which you will benefit financially. If you have a question about Georgia United in general, or any of the material we've covered today, you can contact our Member Care Center at 770-476-6400 or reach out to me directly as shown on this slide. Thank you for joining me for Car Buying 101.